People told me to watch this. On my last stream, I watched Were We Too Hard on Teen Titans Go? And we went into this whole back and forth about that, and a lot of people said, well, you gotta look at Were We Too Hard on the Emoji movie. And I am terrified to say that I completely agree with you. This is something we absolutely need to get into. I think we were not too hard on Teen Titans Go. Not that Teen Titans Go is inherently terrible. I think it's just mid, but being that I'm a chaotic monster, I am going to go as far as to say that we were not too hard on Teen Titans Go because it tarnished the original Teen Titans. You gotta respect the source material, bro. You gotta freaking respect that. I'll watch a mid show and hate it if it tarnishes something I love, even if it was mid. Now, the Emoji movie I've watched years ago. To be frank, I don't really remember it that well. I remember everyone was hating on it. I remember hating on it. Now, the Emoji movie is very different than Teen Titans Go because the Emoji movie did not tarnish something that pre-existed. The Emoji movie was clearly a cash grab because emojis were getting popular. So were we too hard on the Emoji movie? I would go as far as to say, no!
The world is changed. I feel it in the water.
No, why are we doing the Lord of the Rings parody for the Emoji movie?
I feel it in the earth. I smell it in the air. Much that once was is lost, for none now live who remember it, or don't really want to remember it. The year is 2016, and the world began its descent into madness.
So true, man.
Something political happened.
Ah!
A very important gorilla died, and Overwatch was apparently more than just SFM bait.
Overwatch has always been carried by its porn, right? Dude, if the Emoji movie had 1% of the artistic integrity that Overwatch porn had, it would have been better. I'm just gonna lay that out there. I'm just gonna take my balls, put them on the table, and swear on a Bible. I'm just saying.
As the year approached its conclusion, we all thought that the worst was behind us, that we could lay 2016 to rest, and look towards 2017 with hope and optimism. But they were all of them deceived, for another movie trailer was made in the land of Sony Animation. In the fires of the boardroom, the Dark Lord poop.
I'm just saying, this is a fire intro. My God, I am loving this.
Emoji forged in secret a movie trailer.
Master movie trailer.
And into this trailer, he poured his cruelty, his malice, and his will to pander to all audiences. One trailer to ruin them all.
I'm doing it now. So most of y'all know that I'm no stranger to watching and reviewing bad animated films. I mean,
whoa, you're just gonna call the Emoji movie bad? Okay, yeah, never mind.
Really bad. Stuff that most people didn't even know existed, but unfortunately does. Throughout my journey of suffering the worst of the worst, I've witnessed some abhorrent contenders with ratings and review scores that reflect the overall quality, or lack thereof, of the movie. But one film that I'm conflicted about when it comes to its rating is the Emoji movie.
Oh God, he's conflicted. Oh God, he's conflicted. God help us all. He's conflicted. I'm so scared. I want to see the asshole get wider. I don't want to see it get smaller. I don't want to see the asshole protected. I want to see it get stretched all over the place.
A 3.3 on IMDb. A 6% critic score on Rotten.
Still better than Cleopatra and Velma and all that new garbage. Wow, were we too hard on the Emoji movie? No, I just think we weren't hard enough on Velma. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that one.
Tomatoes. And only 2 positive ratings on dove.org with a 0 out of 10 on the faith meter. Folks, I gotta ask, were we too harsh towards the Emoji movie? Wow, I can't believe those words left my mouth. But it's no longer 2017. That was 29 years ago. And I feel that enough time and emotionally charged energy has passed for us to revisit this movie and see it from a different perspective.
No. 11 months ago. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was before Velma, so I think we're okay.
Not in the effort of rationalizing it as a good film in disguise, but more to ask ourselves if we allowed external pressure and online opinion to convince us to critically nuke a movie that, based on merit alone, might not be nearly as bad as we remember.
Dude, do you even hear the... How can you even say these things? The premise of this movie is emojis are alive. Do you even hear what you're saying? Oh...
Like, did you watch it? I mean, really watch it? Or did you go into the movie automatically assuming it was going to be trash?
I went into the movie automatically assuming it was trash, and I was vindicated. But then again, this was like, 5 years ago, so I don't really remember it that well.
With an already formed opinion. Well, I'm here to ask the tough questions. Were we too hard on the Emoji Movie? Why does this kid have a recycling bin on his smartphone? And why?
Because he knows the movie's trash!
Why the hell is there a bona fide ad for Candy Crush in this movie?
Money! Why is there a bona fide ad for Raid Shadow Legends in some of my videos? They paid for it.
Like, can you imagine that? Watching this movie and then BAM! Out of nowhere, an ad for Candy Crush right in the middle of your viewing experience. Such disrespect for art. Truly disgusting. So, what are the origins behind the Emoji Movie? Well, to my genuine surprise, it was actually involved in a bidding war.
What?
Between Sony, Warner, and Paramount.
There's no way these three juggernaut companies came together. They each thought this was a brilliant idea.
You really wanted to make this movie. The film itself was thought up by Tony Leondis, who would go on to write
Thought up is not the word I would use. I would use shit out.
the movie. According to interviews with Tony, he was searching for, quote, the next Toy Story,
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
and thought that emojis were the ticket. That they are a connecting human element to the cold and technical landscape of the internet.
Search emojis right from your keyboard.
Tony commented in an interview that the theme of the movie is about self-identity.
Man is literally just saying words at this point. My man's out here just being like, bro, I just took a shit and it was a metaphor for self-actualization and gender roles in society.
And the difficulty of living in a world that expects you to only be one thing.
You are one thing, you're a smiley face emoji. The whole concept is so stupid. Why are you freaking trying to insert humanity into emojis and make it, oh, I feel so bad for the smiley face emoji, but what if the smiley face emoji wants to cry? Society always viewed the smiley face. Bro, the smiley face emoji is an emotionless ball of garbage.
Like a smiley face, or a frowny face, or Patrick Stewart getting an easy paycheck.
True. Got him.
You thought I was asleep, didn't you? Acting.
Regardless, Tony knew
Patrick Stewart. That's hilarious.
that telling his story would require the production to move at an accelerated rate, since technology itself is always on the move. Could the plot of the Emoji Movie be outdated by the time it was finished in production? Yeah, that's a real
No, it was outdated before it was conceived.
possibility. Because of that, the production was completed in little over 2 years.
They really tried to jump on a fad with an animated movie, like an actual high-budget animated movie. Finding your own identity is an incredibly important concept, and it's something that exists in so many pieces of media, and so many that do it so well. But guess what? They're with humans. Emojis are not like that. You cannot possibly tell a story about finding your own identity through emojis, because emojis are objective. Emojis have an objective identity, and the way we regard them is exactly what they are.
Which is, admittedly, quite the time crunch.
I guess.
Almost seems that the entire motivation behind this movie is
Damn, took them shorter to make the emoji movie than it took me to make No One Understands Zoro.
financially driven instead of creatively.
Damn! Saberspark with the factos.
On December 20th, 2016.
There is no creativity in this movie. Zero. They saw emojis and they tried their best to turn it into a concept for a movie. They didn't actually try to make anything good. And that is the downfall of modern animation in a nutshell.
The first trailer for the Emoji Movie
That's like when Squid Game came out and every single YouTuber on the planet tried to incorporate Squid Game into some video.
was released, and it got dunked on hard by online reviewers. Why? Because people saw this film as a desperate attempt to cash in on a trend.
Yep,
Which,
it was.
honestly,
It was.
isn't that far from the truth.
It was.
Trailer after trailer faced waves of dislikes to the point where the movie itself became a meme. Like, the only person who truly loved this movie in the most unironic, not satirical, 100% genuine way was Jack's Films, of course.
I'm sure none of you remember this. I've been watching Jack's Films from before I was a YouTuber. Jack's Films was memeing on the Emoji Movie for the full 2 years before it was released.
And again, he wasn't joking. He loved it. All right? Wink, wink. On July 23rd, 2017, the Emoji Movie was released in theaters. and was
Theaters!
a critical disaster. However, to the dismay of the internet, it was a financial success. Not by a large margin, but the film did make money for Sony.
See, that's the thing that's finally changing. At that point in time, they could just churn out literally anything and they would make money off of it. They made money off the Emoji Movie. Everyone's saying that it's so sad that, you know, animation is like, these movies are flopping and failing in theaters. Dude, I am so happy about it. If Emoji movies keep succeeding, you will keep getting Emoji.
Hell, one of Sony's marketing executives was on record saying, quote, "The Emoji Movie was built for people under 18.
It was not built for any human being ever to appreciate. It was built purely to take money out of people's wallets because they were like, oh, hey, I heard of emojis. I'll watch this movie.
So, we wanted to give the movie its best chance. What other wide release with a score under 8% has opened north of 20 million? I don't think there is one." End quote.
There it is. Money. Man just rubbed his balls on everyone and said, money, 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 money.
Yeah, he basically said, "We know the movie was bad, but kids are stupid, so who cares? Also, we made money, so go screw yourselves." Yeah, hard to believe that this would be the same studio to field Spider-Verse a year later.
True, that's wild. I'm telling you, Spider-Verse was the climactic W of the modern era.
What? So, what's the Emoji Movie about? Well, it takes place in the magical world of your phone.
Woo!
That's right, the one in your hand right now. It's a little city with its apps and emojis.
So cringe, bro.
Emojis who are defined by their lone expression, if they are an expression emoji. Gene here, our main character, is a meh, but he does not want to be just a meh. He wants to laugh and smile and have other emotions. But that is not allowed, especially since he's replacing his dad as the meh on the phone.
Are you crying yet? Do you realize why I think this is a completely, solely bankrupt, devoid of any form of artistic integrity movie?
That's right, emojis bang. By the way, the phone belongs to a teenage boy named Alex, who has a crush on a girl. One day during class,
Damn, they really went all out with that whole character writing, didn't they?
Alex tries to send a meh emoji to the girl, but Gene freaks out, and instead of a meh, Alex sends the emoji equivalent of a seizure. He thinks his phone is broken.
It is such a stupid idea. It's such a stupid concept. There is no saving grace in this entire concept.
And decides to go to the not Apple store to hard reset his device because apparently he needs help with that? Okay, can't just do it yourself? Embarrassed for being so much more expressive than other emoji, Gene sets off on a journey along with a high five emoji and a purple-haired computer hacker girl emoji.
We live in a timeline that this made money. This succeeded in the box office. How dare you complain when modern Disney is failing, when modern animation movies are doing poorly and everyone's saying, oh, this is so sad for animation. Dude, it is the best thing that ever happened. Did it? It did. This literally made movie in the box office. I am so happy that movies are finally failing. They used to be able to just churn out anything.
Who, for some reason, has a body, because she's a girl, gotta look feminine, right? And they are off to get the source code of the meh expression for Gene so he can be a normie again. They gotta go to Dropbox to the cloud to get the source code and reset Gene, because that makes sense.
No, it doesn't. None of it makes sense. These aren't humans. They try to make believe that they're humans, but they're not. And I know that you can try to say, but Toy Story, bro. Toy Story, they're not humans, they're just toys. No, but the point is that they kind of are humans. Like, they have emotions. They're not supposed to have emotions here.
Along the way, Jailbreak here, the girl emoji, falls for Gene and also reveals that she is a princess emoji.
But she didn't want to conform to be the princess emoji, so she's decided to conform as the hacker girl emoji.
But she doesn't want to be just a princess emoji. Oh, and there's a villain too, named Smiler, and she sends antivirus bots to go delete Gene because she's upset at him for breaking the phone? Okay, sure. At the end, the phone is about to be hard reset, and Gene here uses his expressions in a desperate attempt to text the girl that Alex likes in order to make Alex not reset his phone.
Do you not understand that this is the saddest thing humanity has ever created.
I guess they had this hope that the spastic emoji would convey Alex's emotions. Yeah, okay. And also, thank goodness the girl.
And she's like, whoa, that's crazy, Riz W, bro.
Is also at the not Apple store during this moment. That's pretty convenient, right?
Sure.
But because of the emoji expression, the girl's like, I like you too, Alex. And he's like, wait, don't delete my phone. Pull the plug. And also apparently pulling the plug resets his phone from being deleted. So all the emojis who were temporarily deleted are not deleted. Technology, yay! But that is the main plot, more or less. Characters on a journey of self-identity and wanting to be more than just a lone character trait that defines them.
See, but I love the searching for self-identity thing. It's such a good trope. It's such a really good story beat, but it's just not a good story beat at all for emojis.
Let me tell you, that kind of world building does not make any sense. Without a doubt, the movie's biggest issue is the nonsensical world building. This could have been largely glossed over if it was just a framing device, but the entire movie revolves around how the world inside your phone works, which means you can never fully disengage from these half-baked concepts.
Yeah, and it's also like you're creating life here. You're like, I'm running away here. Listen, when it comes to something like Toy Story, I can totally respect that there's like the secret side of toys, and obviously it doesn't make sense, you know, people are making toys. They're not creating these beings with life, but who cares? Secret life of toys. Sure, whatever. Secret life of emojis, I guess you could say is similar, except the whole idea of Toy Stories was so different.
In this film, emojis are living, breathing beings that exist inside your phone and report to work.
By the way, plot
living,
hole
breathing
removed.
Beings that exist inside.
The princess emojis have bodies, which is why the hacker girl emoji has a body. I'm just saying. Plot hole restored, integrity safe.
Inside your phone and report to work every day. To stand around in a cube on the off chance that the kid who owns their phone needs to use them in a text response. But here's the thing. Their performance isn't directly used in real time. Instead, the device they stand in all day scans their expression and then sends that scan to the keyboard to use. So this begs the question, why not just keep that scan on file?
Why just not have a picture? Why do they need it? Okay, dude, bro, you need some integrity, my friend.
And send that data to the keyboard when requested. Why have an emoji standing there to begin with? Obviously,
Why do you need more than one meta emoji? Why do you need a society of emojis? Dude, there is no answer to these questions. These questions do not exist because this movie does not have enough integrity to actually need to even ask the question.
Answering this question with any kind of logic kind of removes the point of this film existing. So let's just conveniently ignore that, even though the movie itself shows the existence of emoji stickers later on. Do scans exist? Yes. Do emoji stickers exist? Yes. Are we gonna just kind of let that fall to the wayside? Yeah, sure. Just watch the movie, right? Another issue this film runs into is the logic of expressions with the emojis. Gene here is treated as a freak for having other emotions besides what he's supposed to be. But multiple characters throughout the film show other emotions outside their assigned expressions. Like the only ones that seem consistent in their demeanor are Gene's meh parents, which only exist to serve as contrast.
I mean, completely, yeah.
To him.
That's an incredibly valid point. Every one of these... Dude, there's nothing to say that'll fix this movie. It doesn't have room to exist even in a realm of fiction.
Why does the hand guy get full access to his emotions?
Because he's just a hand. He's not supposed to have a face. How did he get a face?
Well, I suppose high five isn't an emotion, so he's not held to that standard. But if that's the case, then that seems pretty unfair to the expression emojis, either socially or biologically or both. The movie doesn't even acknowledge this inconsistency. Maybe it's trying to imply it's not that the emoji can't express other emotions, but merely that they shouldn't. That it's a social stigma. In that case, why isn't this movie more focused on showing Gene being bad at his job specifically for wanting to be more emotionally diverse? Why is he instead not even able to get a job before the movie starts because of him being the way he is? Why are his parents never expressive outside of work? The movie implies...
It makes no sense. They have no idea how they built their characters. I don't even know if this is world building to the point that I don't think they had any idea what they were doing. I don't even know why I'm arguing about this, like, seriously.
That they're retired, so why keep up the meh energy? None of it makes sense. It's very inconsistent. Also, this film seems to have a fast and loose relationship with how a smartphone actually works, which, in a vacuum, for the record, is fine. Movies can create their own rules as long as they stick to them. Does the power strip and Wreck-It Ralph make any sense with the characters hanging out there? No, absolutely not. But who cares? It's fun. It's convenient. Let's ignore it and move forward. But here's the thing about the Emoji Movie. It is incredibly inconsistent with the rules it establishes.
Here's the thing. The rules it establishes are, you have a phone. In your phone, you have emojis. The emojis have this whole secret society where they have to conform to be exactly what the emojis are. That is literally all they give you. So anything that's not exactly that does not make sense. Does that make sense?
Rules based on things that most people have a degree of familiarity with. That's the entire point of the film, isn't it? Emoji are hashtag relatable and popular. Make a movie about them living in your phone. What if feelings had feelings, right? What if emojis have feelings? But by doing that, you butt up against how things work in your movie for the sake of convenience or reference, versus how these things actually work. And it becomes distracting if they differ too much. For example, why are there trolls inside this kid's phone? Like, I understand that they're trying to be cute, but an internet troll isn't part of an application.
What are we gonna do with these people?
It's a behavior taken by actual people, which we know exist in this universe.
Because I'm a troll, and I'm not in your phone. Or am I?
Because the entire framing device of the movie is that all these characters live inside a kid's phone. So people exist. Trolls are people, not data. That doesn't make any sense. The initial issue and the resolution of the film revolve around Gene making an expression that isn't an actual emoji available on a keyboard while on the job, to negative and later on positive effect respectively. Like, we've established that emoji all have roles. They're supposed to be a singular thing. We even have source code that controls how they act. So how exactly are these completely custom, on-the-spot created emoji even properly being received on another device?
True.
Normally, if you send a character that isn't supported by the receiving device, it just shows up as a blank square or an X or something.
This isn't just a flaw of world building. The entire premise is so inherently flawed, I don't see any possible way to make a movie actually work.
But if that happened, then the kid at the end would still hate his quote-unquote broken phone and would have gone through with the wipe, and we can't have that. Like, can you imagine, like, Gene here, I'll do a Hail Mary expression emoji, bleh, bleh, smile, frown, not sure, and then just pops up on the girl's phone, just little blip, little X, and she's like, what the hell is this? Phone deleted, movie's over. Obviously, these creative liberties are taken in order to add humor and drama to the story. But because they're framed around real things that we know, it becomes very distracting, especially when they're grounding everything even more in our world with actual recognizable brands and apps.
I don't even know if it's the recognizable brands and apps or the fact that our world is grounded in a different way. Like, if you look at something like Toy Story, because I think that's a really good example to compare Emoji Movie to. If you look at something like Toy Story, Toy Story worked and was great because it's the secret life of toys, even though we know that that doesn't actually work in toys, okay? Toys do not have emotions. We are not gods creating little creatures with life and souls and all that shit, okay? But it still works because the premise is toys are secretly alive and have a secret living society. So once you have something like that that exists, okay, you have to understand the premise, accept the premise for what it is, and then see where the premise can go from there in a way that it doesn't counteract the actual premise that exists. Okay? Does that make sense? So it'll never cover how the toys gain sentience, because frankly, that will not make sense. There is no possible way that will make sense, so therefore it will never be covered. They'll never cover the science, etymology, and biology behind toys, because that will not make sense. We're gonna accept the premise for what it is, and just proceed with the accepted premise. With the Emoji Movie, the accepted premise, the idea that emojis have a society where they have no choice but to conform to these emotions, where sometimes they don't, but They could, but they might not, but their biology lets them be happy even if they're sad emoji. That premise makes no sense. The premise is inherently flawed. Do they have one emotion? No. So then why do some of them act like they have one emotion? So why do the phones pick them up as having one emotion? The premise itself is flawed. Whereas something like Toy Story, where obviously the premise makes no sense in reality, in a vacuum, once you accept the premise, you can watch the rest of this. There is no accepting the premise of the Emoji Movie. The premise is inherently flawed.
Speaking of, this entire movie is virtually a commercial. Having actual apps people use in real life be featured in this movie is distracting for two reasons. One, it draws further attention to the times the movie couldn't get the rights to something. The kid has Candy Crush, Spotify, and Dropbox on his phone, but the phone itself is running a made-up, not iPhone OS, and he takes it to the not Apple store to get it wiped. And number two, it gives you perfect
It's just sad and stupid.
opportunities to add blatant product placement in your film, and good God, does the Emoji Movie leverage this opportunity. There's an entire plot point where Gene gets trapped in a Candy Crush board, and the only way
The premise that they give you that these emojis have like a personality and stuff, that it doesn't fit with that. In Toy Story, The Secret Life of Toys, they're living in a real world.
to free him is to spend 5 minutes playing Candy Crush. They explain the rules, hype up the game with bubbly positive language, and all but turn towards the camera with a QR code to download the app. Again, just come
They should have just been self-aware. I feel like the only saving grace the Emoji Movie could have had is if they were just completely self-aware with how nonsensical the premise is.
blatantly shameless, and it undermines any creative integrity the movie might have warranted.
Oh God, kill me.
So, in conclusion, was the Emoji Movie as bad as the reviews and online zeitgeist of 2017 claimed?
Yes. Please say yes, please say yes, please say yes, please say yes, please say yes. Don't give me another Teen Titans Go blue ball.
Yes and no.
No! No!
The Emoji Movie on rewatch isn't a poorly made movie on a technical level.
Man just said it was animated, and the animation wasn't so bad. Yes, everything else was garbage.
But its cynical motivations for even being made in the first place are so blatantly transparent that
Forget the motivations. The movie itself was dog shit.
it can't help but generate disgust. Like, let's pretend that the Emoji Movie avoided any mention or promotion for apps and games from real-life companies.
Again, I wouldn't even consider that. Yes, I just think that's disgusting as a standalone point. I don't think that makes the Emoji Movie bad. What makes the Emoji Movie bad is the Emoji Movie's plot. The plot makes no sense. The characters are trash. It screams sellout at every moment. It's almost like they had to fill out the runtime and had to squeeze out some kind of moral message that didn't fit at all into the environment that they created.
Just a bunch of off-brand stand-ins for the sake of being the phone's version of Facebook or YouTube or Instagram. If we're just talking about the movie itself, with no mention of trendy apps and companies, then what we have here is a straightforward generic story with default characters and a plot that has been told 1,000 times over. The visuals, competent. The story and characters, boring and predictable. The themes?
This looks strangely familiar. Because we've been here before.
Nicely done.
If you want to watch a movie about a character trying to find worth and their own self-identity, then go watch A Bug's Life, or Wreck-It Ralph, or literally Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Damn.
It's been done before, and much better too. So, when only considering the creative aspects of the Emoji Movie, I'd say we're left with a below-average story with solid animation that probably deserves a 3.5 or 4 out of 10. In that regard, I'd say 2017 reviews for the movie were a little too harsh.
At what point is it okay to just say it's trash? Do you realize Kung Fu Panda is also a self-identity story? The whole story is how he becomes the Dragon Warrior, and once he becomes accomplished and realized as a Kung Fu fighter, he can finally open this legendary scroll. So he becomes a legendary fighter. Even though he's this fat panda, okay? He becomes an epic fighter. Tai Lung is gonna destroy the world. He opens the scroll. He looks at the scroll, and it's blank. And he's like, what? It's blank. And he shows it to Master Shifu, and Master Shifu says, it's blank. We are literally fucking toast. This is a blank scroll right now. We're toast. This is supposed to give you some untold power, but you're just a fat panda. What the frick are you supposed to do? And he decides, well, it's time to evacuate the village, because I sure can't fight Tai Lung. So they go to evacuate the village, and he bumps into his dad, the goose, of course, because it's a legendary show. And the goose guy says to him, "But Po, do you know what the secret ingredient is to my secret ingredient soup?" Because he has a noodle shop, and he's like, "No, Dad, don't tell me. Don't tell me the secret ingredient. I want to. You've become of age, Po." "The secret ingredient to my secret ingredient soup is nothing." "Wait, what?" And he's like, "Yes, because believing that there is a secret ingredient is what gives the secret ingredient power." Then later, Po finds the scroll, and he looks at the scroll, and it's blank and slightly reflective, and he sees his face, and he's like, there is no secret ingredient. And when he goes to fight Tai Lung, he doesn't fight Tai Lung as a pure kung fu warrior with all the legendary kung fu training he's undergone over the movie. He uses his own girth to his advantage. He jumps on Tai Lung. He uses his love of food and his crazy amount of flubber to defeat Tai Lung. He manages to truly embody himself. Yes, everything that he's done throughout the entire movie, all the training has definitely come in handy, but truly he had to embrace who he truly was to defeat his enemy. That is how you learn to truly embrace who you are. Okay? It's going through an entire movie with your preconceived notions and shattering all the walls. Emoji Movie put its heart on its sleeve, saying, yeah, this is a movie where it's going to be about trying to accept who you are, even though you are a happy person despite being born as a meh emoji. And none of it makes sense from the very creation of emojis. You want a self-realization story? Bro, this is not it. There is zero merit to this film. None.
But the Emoji Movie isn't just that. The contempt for this movie isn't for the movie itself. It's for why it was made.
I agree.
It's
both. I could have contempt for why it was made, but if it was a great movie, then you know what? I could appreciate that it was a great movie. That there was an idea here. But here, it's the concept that it was made as a cash grab to cash in on emoji hype, whatever that is, and then they churned out absolute and utter garbage with a boring message that they stretched into 2 hours.
Undeniably chasing a trend with a shelf life, and it shoved a bunch of ads into the movie along the way. The creative aspects of
it needed some integrity. Listen. I've watched enough South Park to know that a little bit of integrity would make this movie a lot better.
Film were window dressing for a glorified commercial. Any authenticity the Emoji Movie could have potentially cultivated with its story and characters was sacrificed the moment that Candy Crush popped up on the screen.
No,
it
was sacrificed the moment it was conceived.
That perspective,
I disagree.
Then yeah, the Emoji Movie deserves the hate it received for being generic and a corporate springboard. Even if the overall theme came from a personal place for the creator of the film, it was told in a very boring way, and is further damaged by the shilling of phone apps from real-life companies. So overall, I wouldn't say that the Emoji Movie, from a creative point of view, is some crime against humanity.
No, it was just bad. There was no redeeming features to it. A show with no redeeming features, you're right, it's not a crime against humanity. See, my scale for bad movies, it's not the same as everyone else's. Yes, you can have your typical 1 to 10, all right, sure. But you could also have the incredibly based -10 to +10. That is the correct way to score movies. Now, a movie that's so bad, it's actually harmful to society, there you'll have your -10. Okay, all right, sure. This was just a freaking 0.
It's a subpar film with a bare minimum plot that is unfortunately weighed down by the presence of in-movie advertising. So in that case, you see that 6% on Rotten Tomatoes? Let's make it a 5%, just to remind Sony how much we hated this movie and to never look back. Spider-Verse good, Emoji Movie bad.
Based.
So let's just take this film and put it in the recycling bin on my phone with Lay Trolls and my exclusive Overwatch SFM collection.
I see where you're going with it.
Delete.
There's no need for you to be here.
I think I should stay, and I think we should have sex.
Ooh, sauce? Sauce?
Okay.
Sauce! All in all, that was a good video. Thank you, Saberspark, for diving into this. And ladies and gentlemen, in the comments and in chat, to all of you, I humbly and utterly request of you, if you have some borderline hentai Overwatch stuff for me to watch on stream that won't get me banned, definitely send it my way.
Like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitch. Stay weird, fam.